Thanks for having us. I think I just played in Worcester, actually.
Really? Do you remember where?
One of the theaters. I was with Glenn Hughes.
Oh, you were playing with Glenn Hughes, so that would be the Palladium.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. How was playing with Glenn Hughes, the voice of rock, as they call him?
Great. I've been playing with Glenn on and off for, I don't know, some 15 plus years. Did a bunch of records with him back in the day. He's a lovely guy and hell of a singer.
Yeah, he is, for sure. Yeah, that's a great venue, the Palladium. That goes back, I believe, to the early 1900s. The Three Stooges once did a show there way back in the... Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Well, let's talk about this amazing new album, Robby Krieger and the Soul Savages. I spent some time with it yesterday. I got to tell you, man, it's better than taking a Xanax. It's such a chill groove. Personally, I fell right into it. It is such a great chill groove and feeling to it. My first question about it: did you guys write stuff and bring it in to record, or did the songs come from like jamming?
Yeah, it was definitely from jamming. It was totally jamming.
There were a couple melodies here and there, I think, that somebody brought in. I think Robbie brought in a melody on
Samosa.
Yeah, and Contrary, and then one guy would write the chorus melody, and Robbie would write a chorus melody or verse melody, and then I'd write the other one. And those guys brought some really beautiful grooves into the studio that really, I think, inspired the jams. Kevin and Franklin, bass player and drummer.
Now, Robbie, did you assemble these guys, or did you like meet up somewhere and say, "Hey, we should play music together"? How did it happen?
Well, I known Kevin, the bass player, for many years. He was on my last couple of solo albums, actually the one before the last. So I knew him, and I heard he was sick, and I was sick too. I had caught melanoma, and it got in my lung.
Oh God!
And I said, "Oh man, you might have 6 months or something like that."
Oh God!
And Kevin was even worse. He was like in bed for a year. He couldn't get up, and he had polio when he was a kid, so he couldn't. He wasn't moving around that good anyway. But anyway, we both miraculously got better, and we decided to get together and see if we could still play music. So Ed knew Brandino, or Kevin Brandon, and Ed happened to live near my studio, so we started playing quite a bit together, and then we ended up getting Franklin Vanderbilt, who was also a friend of Brandino, and that's kind of how it started. It was kind of a celebration of getting better.
Yeah. I mean, all Ed and Kevin and Franklin, the guys you mentioned, have pretty impressive resumes. I mean, Ed, you've played with Ringo Starr, Brothers Johnson, and Shuggie Otis, one of my favorites of all time. When did you play with Shuggie Otis, Ed?
It's got to be like close to 10 years ago now. Shuggie, he would come out of retirement and do a comeback tour. We did the whole U.S. It was a whole summer out, and then spot dates maybe for almost a year after that. If Shuggie's a favorite, then you know how many things he pioneered and what a player he could be when he was on. He was on for a lot of it.
That Inspiration Information reissue in the 90s on Luca Bop. That may have been like for a month. That's like the only thing I listened to. And and then the other guys. Kevin, I'm seeing here, James Brown, Aretha Franklin, Michael Jackson, Franklin, Chaka Khan, Stanley Clark, so much soul and jazz and R&B. So obviously that all played into it. Did you guys start out to grab this really soulful groove on the record, or again, did that just happen organically?
We didn't have to, man. It was just natural.
Nice.
And those guys, when Kevin and Franklin start a groove, man, it's unstoppable. It's like that's really kind of what motivated Ed and I to write the melodies and get the song shaped up. So it's kind of very natural the way it all happened.
A lot of it, at times, a lot of it kind of reminds me of like Booker T and the MGs, some of that old Stax and Volt stuff. Was that something you guys were going for?
It sure is, man. My whole thing in the last 20 years has been to get an instrumental hit like Booker T, something like that. And I've been guilty of on my last solo albums of being too much into how many notes can you fit into that
right.
into that. And it's like our friend Phil Chin used to say, "Don't be the dentist, man. Don't fill all the holes."
That should be on a T-shirt for sure.
Hey, you're right.
But before we run out of time, Robbie, if I could ask a couple of questions about your time in the Doors. After playing with someone like Jim Morrison, who is, am I fair to say, unpredictable in performance? Like every night you just didn't know who was going to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did that make it, with all your musical projects afterwards, going through that experience, did it make it easier to perform your other musical processes after that?
I think so, yeah. Because, after Jim, nobody would surprise me,
Yeah.
So.
And what is one of the biggest misconceptions about the Doors you wish people would get right?
Well, after the movie came out, it kind of pigeonholed Jim into being this crazy weirdo, and he wasn't like that all the time. It was that was only the bad times, which are obviously more interesting in a movie than the good ones. But when I look back, I think of writing with him and hanging out in the early days, and when he didn't have a place to stay, so he'd stay at my house for weeks on end, and there was a lot of just really a lot of fun times. It wasn't all a scary roller coaster ride.
I talked to Ray Manzarek about, I guess it was 25 years ago now. He kind of said the same thing. He was disappointed in the movie and that he wishes people would have known Jim as a sweet, friendly guy, a good friend. And he said, like a lot of people, when they start drinking, sometimes they become complete chaotic. And,
right.
Yeah. So he said the same thing, too. That's interesting.
That doesn't surprise me.
All right. Well, you guys, the album's great. Robby Krieger and the Soul Savages. And I'm just saying, that's not just a clever name. You guys, your resumes and the whole band right there. Unbelievable players, unbelievable playing. It's coming out tomorrow. And please, everybody go out and check this out. Now, my next and final question. Are you guys going to be touring on this? Are you coming anywhere near New England?
I'll bet you we will.
I hope so. I'd love to see this stuff live. Guys, thank you very much for taking the time. I know it's early where you guys are. I appreciate you guys being up early, and good luck with the new album and hopefully a tour here and coming by New England. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.